I mean, I still cannot fathom that Jaylen Carter as a grown man would do that. Like, dude, grow the fuck up. You're a grown man. You're about to make $150 million. What a way to start the football season, everybody. Welcome into the JAKIB Halftime Show. I'm your host, Zander Krause. We'll be joined shortly by John McMullen, live from Lincoln Financial Field. We went all the way around the world in that first half, and it started, I must lead with this, everybody. It started with the stupidity and the immaturity of Jaylen Carter, who spits on Dak Prescott before a snap is called, and he is ejected from the football game. And what ensues after that is the Dallas Cowboys scoring on 4 of 4 drives for their offense. A very ugly first half, and the crazy part of it is that thanks to Jalen Hurts, we are in this football game, and we actually hold a 1-point lead. The score is 21-20 as we sit here at halftime. The Philadelphia Eagles do have the lead, and they will receive the ball after halftime. But a crazy all around the world first half where you just saw a little bit of everything. A really ugly first half. Defense really looked shoddy. Adoree Jackson seemingly has already been sent to the bench for Jacorian Bennett on that last final drive there. Dak Prescott kind of slicing and dicing. Even Quinyon Mitchell got beat a couple of times with a bad flag. Also on George Pickens. I mean, that half had a little bit of everything, and I'll say it again. If it's not for Jalen Hurts, we're not in this football game, folks. Defense does not look good, and when you lose a player like Jaylen Carter, you see what's going to happen after that. All right, have not been able to generate pressure off the edges from the interior. They got a flag call, multiple flag calls. I saw a couple people upset that Nolan Smith was flagged for taunting, and I say this. When your best player on the defensive line gets ejected before the first snap for spitting on the opposing team's starting quarterback, you lost your leeway. You no longer have the ability to showboat or do any of the things you think you can. So I am not surprised that Nolan Smith was flagged there. Jalen Carter's the leader of the defensive line. He spits on the quarterback. I mean, that's inexcusable behavior. I don't even understand the point of it. And we've talked about this young defense, and I think you're seeing some immaturity. I do. I think you're seeing some real immaturity on this defense right now, and that's going to be something that has to be corrected immediately. So we'll see. There is some good that we'll talk about as well, but obviously that is the lead story here in the opening half. Let's go to our main man, John McMullen, set to join me right here on the JAKIB Halftime Show. Johnny Mac, you'll go all around the world in half number one, my friend. That was as ugly as it gets, and surprisingly, the Eagles hold a 1-point lead at halftime. But I got to go right to the lead story, John. Before a snap is even called, Jalen Carter gets ejected from the game for spitting on Dak Prescott. A real sign of immaturity there. What was your take on that, Johnny Mac?
Yeah, that's the exact word. That's the proper word you have to use. I mean, there's one thing we talked about, that dichotomy between the Eagles and the Washington Commanders this year. They going with a very veteran group, the Eagles going with a very young group. Generally, you think of professional football as a young man's game, especially a talented young man's game. But experience matters as well. And you not only saw Carter Robinson and play get 1 week for his team because he made that mistake. And also Ben Van Summer is laying on the field about to get carted off with a serious leg injury. Yeah, immaturity is the proper word there. And you had, both defenses struggling. Yeah, touchdown, desperately looking for a stop. And Nolan Smith makes that great run stop. I think it was on Miles Sanders. And you say, all right, maybe they got him behind the sticks. Maybe. And then he taunts him, and it's a 15-yard penalty. Yeah, it's not acceptable.
Well, I mean, John, some people were saying that was a bad call, and I said this: when your best player on defense spits on the opposing quarterback on the first play, you've lost your leeway. You no longer have the ability to showboat at all. Get your ass back to the huddle and get ready to play. I'm not surprised they threw the flag.
No, I don't care about the fans' mentality. If that, they don't put it in a position. Nick Sirianni says be great at the things that don't need talent. In other words, things you can control.
Right.
Just, if you stare at the player, that's when they throw it. Just go back to the huddle, celebrate with your teammates, whatever. Turn your head, do something. Again, no, don't make excuses. Talking not you, the fans. It's an excuse. If somebody did it to your team, you'd want the call. That's what they call. That's not a bad call.
John, we'll get back into the game real quick, but what's going to happen here with Jaylen Carter? What do you think? I mean, I still can't get over it, John. We're halfway through the game. It happened an hour and a half ago. I still can't believe it. I'm like, what are you thinking, Jaylen Carter? What do you think is going to happen with that in the future here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Vic will talk to him. Vic talked to him a couple times last year. Vic talked to Chauncey at times last year. That's all you can do is reaffirm. You can't put your team in that kind of position. You're arguably the most important player on defense. They don't get to have you on this particular day, and you're struggling defensively. Now, obviously, you're up 21-20 at half. Dallas is even struggling more. Looks like the Eagles are in good shape to persevere and win the game, but you can't put your teammates in that position if you're Jalen Carter.
Nah, it was a pitiful performance. John, let's go to the offense before we real quick touch on kind of what happened with Adoree Jackson. He was getting burnt. Is he benched? Was he hurt? We'll get some clarity on that. But what'd you think of the Eagles offense? They have put up 21 points. Not a lot in the passing game, but I'll tell you what, if it's not for Jalen Hurts, I don't think we're in this game. He's 9 of 11 for 93 yards and also has 48 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. What do you make of the Eagles offensive performance so far?
Yeah, I joked at one point in the first half. I don't know if Dallas knows Jalen Hurts can run the ball. Just a terrible playing on the defensive side of the ball to the point I'm looking at Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, and saying, yeah, I don't know if I agree with you guys that Matt Eberflus is a good football coach. I mean, they just let Jalen Hurts, run at will. When you play, obviously +1 is always difficult in the running game. But when you play a quarterback that has the ability to gouge you like that, you have to be very disciplined. And the Cowboys are constantly losing the rush lanes. So Jalen just pulls it down and takes the easy yardage. He's having a tremendous half. He had a tremendous half. That deep throw to Jahan Dotson is perfect. I don't think anybody throws a better deep ball in the NFL than Jalen Hurts. Kevin Patullo in his first game as offensive coordinator couldn't be much better than this. You can never figure out this league because they don't play. This offense doesn't play any time together in the preseason almost at all. And they go out and dominate in that first half. Will Shipley had a couple big plays. Saquon was great. Jalen was tremendous. About the only thing they haven't gotten AJ involved. That's about the only thing you can complain about. They really haven't gotten.
I don't even think they've targeted him, John. Have they even targeted AJ?
No, they haven't targeted. They only targeted DeVonta once, so they're not looking outside the numbers, and because they don't have to. Saquon has 49 yards rushing. Jalen has 48 yards rushing. They have 3 touchdowns between them. Jalen with 2. They haven't needed to at this point. But if Dallas wants to pull off the upset, they got to figure out a way how to deal with Jalen Hurts' running ability because they just have no clue right now.
John, defense is where the problem lies. Offense is honestly having a good half, as you just elaborated on it. What do you think of that defense? I think Adoree Jackson was already benched. I know Zach Berman put out that he was in the medical tent, but I mean he was getting flat out cooked out there, Johnny. He couldn't hang at all.
I mean, it might be a situation where he's banged up, but he looked like he could come back in. So you never know, and we'll get a better indication if it was. He did make a couple plays at the end. He was getting gouged, and then he made it back. I think there were back-to-back plays on CD Lamb. He almost had an interception by Byron Young because Adoree was able to get over his shoulder and tap the football. So he was playing a little bit better. It would be weird to bench him after he made 2 good plays after the bad plays. So maybe he is banged up. maybe that, but he looked like he could have played, and they put Bennett in. So, but we'll see in the second half. We should get a better indication. But if it's a benching or he was just a little bit banged up.
What do you think of the defensive line, John? I mean, obviously they are not the same without Jaylen Carter, but that's nobody's fault but Jaylen Carter himself. What'd you make of the defensive line? Not much pressure, John, out there.
No, not great. Jordan Davis had Dak Prescott dead to rights, which would have excited people because he would have gotten a sack, but he didn't get him. He didn't get him to the ground. He was able to turn it into a 2 or 3 yard gain. I forget, but yeah, not much on the pass rush. Haven't noticed Jalen Hunt much at all. Morrow hasn't translated yet. Maybe if the Eagles can get a lead here, they'll get the ball in the second half. Maybe that they can get a lead and they can pin their ears back. Maybe it'll look a little bit better, but it hasn't looked great. It hasn't looked great in the first half.
Johnny Mac, we'll talk to you on the post-game show. Great stuff, brother. Talk to you then. Thank you, man.
All right, thanks, everybody.
All right, there's Johnny Mac, John McMullen. That's pretty. I mean, that's pretty upsetting first half. I know. Look, I think the best part about it is that we knew it was going to be ugly, and it was certainly very ugly. But the beauty is we get the ball here after halftime. It's about to come back. We have a 1-point lead, and the offense scoring pretty consistently. Jalen Hurts running at will. Jalen Hurts looks awesome, by the way. I mean, I think Jalen Hurts is the biggest bright spot of the game. Brian Pumper, where are you? I mean, Jalen Hurts is the real. If we don't have Jalen Hurts in this game, we're cooked. I was really upset with that first half from that defense, man. We talked about the youth on this football team. And is it going to be a factor? And we're a half of football into the year, and it's a factor. It's a fact. I mean, you get your best player on the team gets thrown out for spitting. I mean, guys, is this Pop Warner? Am I covering Pop Warner? Do I have 1,000 people watching me to talk about Pop Warner? I mean, I still cannot fathom that Jaylen Carter, as a grown man, would do that. Like, dude, grow the fuck up. You're a grown man. You're about to make $150 million. I'll say that again. You're about to make $150 million. I mean, really? Come on, man. Like, I just don't get that. And the youth on the defense, hopefully it's not a problem. I mean, I think the beauty of it is that it's week one, and you know these games are going to be ugly, and there's a lot of growth that you can have from week one. I think that's obvious here. But very unfortunate first half for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If not for Jalen Hurts and probably Saquon Barkley, I don't think this game's looking very good. I will give a positive shout-out to somebody right now. How about this for a positive shout-out? Jahan Dotson, baby! That was a thing of beauty from Jalen Hurts to Jahan Dotson. That was money. Wait, is this game back? No, not yet, right? That was a thing of beauty from Jalen Hurts to Jahan Dotson. Let me get to some super chats. Vulnerable Vitality sends $20 and says, "Bruh, I'm with you, Vitality. What the heck?" Brian Pumper says, "I told y'all, Brian Pumper doesn't know football. Man, you dudes need to bow down to your King Pumper Damas." That's hilarious. James Carver says, "At least JD's playing very well. Looks very good, Carver. I agree. Not very good, but solid. Very well aside from one slip sack. Dak's just getting the ball out in less than 2.3, but JD's constantly there." I agree. Davis looks good. They're interviewing Nick Sirianni. I'd love to hear what he had to say at halftime. Matt NG says, "Surprised by Davis. He's getting there, just not finishing." Agreed. Bennett shows confidence against Dallas receivers. Jackson is cheeks. Yeah, Jackson's terrible. Caleb says 8 is trash. Adoree looked awful. 98 might get suspended next week. It was bad. Caleb, one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan. How am I supposed to defend that? I mean, come on, dude. And the worst part is, get ready for this, Caleb. And Jalen's got nobody to blame but himself. That will be held against Jaylen Carter for the entirety of his career. I guarantee it. He'll be getting his massive contract. The social media comments will be filled with him spitting on people. It was a low-life move. That's what that was. It was a low-life move. I hated it. It was hard. It was hard to watch because I like Jaylen Carter. I've actually said I like that he's angry. I like that he's an angry player. That's what makes him good. But, dude, you got to get with the program. This isn't Pop Warner. You have $150 million bag of gold sitting for you at the end of the finish line. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, if I was that man's mother, I'd slap him in the head. Come on, man. I don't get it. All right, everybody, I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you guys go tune back in to the JAKIB Green Zone. Krause calling the game. Sounds great on the play-by-play. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Appreciate all of our super chats. I will see you guys on the post-game show right after the game. Thanks, everybody.